historically sanctions have been very ineffective. Certainly the 4 rounds that we've had at the United Nations, they've given us the tools we need, but it's certainly, if we don't implement those tools, nothing's going to happen. Ultimately, I'm not sure anything short of a military campaign will deter the Iranian regime. Having that said, though, I don't see us, we in the United States, you in Australia, Israel, being willing to engage in that military campaign in the next 12 months, 24 months. So in the meantime, my thinking is, how can we impose the maximum amount of financial pain on the financial institutions? The banks are what allow people to move money back and forth, and I don't mean the people. I mean the regime. The United Nations has designated 4 banks, 4 dirty banks, for weapons of mass destruction proliferation. We in the United States have designated an additional 10. What I've done in the last few months, and I encourage you each, is my one plug for the book. It's downloadable for free on my website. Look up Iran's Dirty Banking, or just type in my name on Google. What I've done is I've mapped out the Iranian regime's bank accounts around the world. So if you take the 4 banks that have been designated at the UN and you map it out to other financial institutions, every financial institution, when they don't have a physical presence in a country, they task another bank to act as its proxy. And so what I've done is I've mapped out those bank accounts and SWIFT codes to other financial institutions. Then what I did was I mapped it back to Australian financial institutions. There are 6 Australian financial institutions that are doing business with banks that are doing business with designated entities. ANZ, up until a short time ago, was directly dealing with a UN-designated bank. And as soon as we brought it to the attention of the Australian, essentially, they caved. They basically cut off their ties to a designated UN bank. And this week, what we're doing is talking to parliamentarians, and this is something that you all can get involved with Colin. All of you can get involved in forcing six Australian financial institutions from not doing business with banks that are doing business with designated entities. I'm not saying that Efraim is wrong, but I'm saying in the meantime, we should do everything we can to make these people feel, banks that are engaged in weapons of mass destruction, proliferation, I'll be very clear, make them feel the financial pain and not allow them to play ball in the international financial community. So we have an obligation. We do not sit here with a gun. Most of us are not here in the military. We're not sitting in the halls of power in Canberra or Tel Aviv or Washington, D.C. What we can do is we can, if you bank at, let's say, Westpac or the Commonwealth Bank or the National Bank of Australia, you should know that they are doing business with a bank that's doing business with a designated financial institution. You have 6 banks. Yeah. Those banks, I'll give you a list. Those banks, yeah. Each of you, I don't know if each of you...
You better tell us which bank we can bank from.
Each of you, if you bank there, friends, here we go. Let's explain. If you bank at any of these financial institutions, usually I'll give you the list, just so that you know. Westpac, ANZ, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, JP Morgan, National Australia Bank, and the State Bank of India. If you have money in any of those financial institutions, or you are a shareholder of any of those banks, you have a responsibility to walk into those banks and tell them, my friends, you are doing business with a financial entity that is doing business with a designated Iranian entity. You can choose where you park your money. You can choose where you park your money. So you want to get involved? You want to get involved? Wait a second, let me just finish up. If you want to get involved in something like this, talk to Colin. Talk to Colin. Yeah, it's not difficult. Talk to your shareholders in the banks. Go to the bank teller and tell them, I read this, that you are, or one of you can write an op-ed.
Are the regulators aware of this?
What's that?
Are the regulators aware?
I don't know. I can't, look, I'm merely a visitor in your country. All I did was I did the research. With bank accounts and SWIFT codes. If I can do it based on open source information, certainly the banks can do it. If they really wanted to know, they would know.